A lot of bands are coming back, or they're trying to reinvigorate their fan base and bring back some of those older fans that they lost along the ways.
Or even newer fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in playing albums in its entirety. Thing takes you back to that time. So you're like thinking in your head like you mentioned before about Master of Puppets. Like imagine the people that grew up with Master of Puppets and they're like, "Man, I would have loved to hear this album in its entirety." And Metallica plays it. And they you go to the show and you hear it. But then there's all those other generations of fans that are like, "Yeah, this is great."
Yeah.
And it reinvigorates them and those older fans that left them.
And plus you're playing all the best songs anyways
Yeah.
that were in your prime.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you reinvigorate your base that way, and you bring in new. You have the younger fans, you got the other fans, but I really think that doing it right will help. Like if you play seminal albums, but not do it all the time. Like there's a lot of bands like Anthrax, like and Megadeth. They put it in the ground. Anthrax toured Among the Living like 3 or 4 times. Megadeth did Rest in Peace like 3 or 4 times. Like what? Like you have other albums that were good.
It ran its course.
Yeah.
Like come on.
You do it one time, and it holds something in regards as a special thing. Like it's a special tour. Like there's.
Well, kind of like what Slayer did.
Yeah, Slayer did the Still Raining thing where they played Raining Blood in its entirety.
Boom. Never did
and
it
they
again.
didn't do it again.
Yep.
Metallica played Master
Actually,
of Puppets.
no, I think they did do it in Europe.
I think they did, but Metallica did Master of Puppets in Europe instead of doing it out here. If they did that out here, I mean that would have been huge.
I'm still butthurt about that. I really am butthurt about that. Either that or they can do Ride the Lightning. Or you know what? They literally play for so long. Why not do the first 4 albums?
Yeah.
That would be rad, dude.
That would be really really
how cool
awesome.
that would be?
Yeah. Or just the majority of your set is just the four albums.
No, I just say do the first. No, because if you really think about it, if you really cut down Kill 'Em All, a record's what, like 30 minutes? That's
it's close to 40, if I think.
Is it?
I think so.
But it's like less than an hour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you go to Ride the Lightning, which is pretty close to an hour, I think.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like 50-something minutes.
Exactly. And then
yeah, they could
Yeah.
do it because their shows are about 2.5 to 3 hours long, so they could pull that off. Yeah,
you know, bring it back for your fans, man. Like, have a whole freaking festival in San Francisco in the Bay Area. Call it the Bay Area Bash or whatever the hell you want to do, but just have tons of bands. Just like matter of fact, maybe do something that's like Ozfest.
Well, they had Metallica had a festival.
Yeah, well, the Orion Festival.
Yeah, and that was you know what?
Flopped.
It flopped because the way they did that is the way that European festivals are.
Mm-hmm.
That's how that festival was set up. Is there's different genres of music like that to bring in different types of people, but Americans aren't like that.
Yeah,
they're not. So like that's why Ozfest was such a huge thing. Warp Tour is such a huge thing. Like it fits in those niche genres. Ozfest was the metal, but Warp Tour was the punk stuff, which is now turned into whatever the fuck the crap is. I don't even know what the hell it is anymore. But that's that's what it turned into.
I'd also like to see Metallica also play smaller venues. I like to see them do that too.
Yeah, that would be pretty awesome. So we're talking about albums being played in its entirety. I've seen a few. I saw Rain and Blood. Saw Perfect Circle do Murder No.
Mm-hmm.
Saw Downward Spiral from Nine Inch Nails and Crack the Sky from Mastodon.
You saw Nine Inch Nails do Downward Spiral in its entirety?
Yes.
Dang, dude.
The Hollywood Palladium.
What year was that?
2009.
Wow.
It was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
We should have gone.
I did go.
I should have gone with you. Okay, go.
But I was thinking of other ones that I would love to hear played in its entirety. Smashing Pumpkins gets back together with Darcy and James. I would love for them to do either Siamese or Melancholy.
Or both.
Both will be great. I'm happy with either one. I would
honestly
will love to hear them do Siamese. Siamese is just awesome.
Yeah, I think that'd be rad. But I think that'd be doable too.
Yeah. I'd love to hear Pearl Jam do Verses.
I like to hear him do 10 and
Metallica, love to see Justice for All.
That'd be cool.
Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets. Soundgarden, I like to hear Super Unknown.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Alice in Chains, I like to see
I'd rather
them try
hear
to pull.
Bad Motofinger though. Love that album. That's
Yeah,
a good album.
it is a
dude.
good album. I like.
That's
You
their
know what?
best
You know what?
album, dude. Yeah. Yes.
I'm really. You know what? I'm a lot. I'm very partial to Down on the Upside.
I like Down on the
I like that album a lot. I'd love to see Nine Inch Nails do The Fragile. I think that would be amazing.
They need to do that.
And Deftones did this, and they did it in one show at a festival in Montreal. Is they played Around the Fur in its entirety, and I want them to do that as a tour.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because next year's 20 years for that album.
They're probably going to do it.
I would hope so. I would really, really hope so. Some other ones that would have been cool, like the Stone Temple Pilots thing of them doing Core in Purple.
That would have been cool.
That would have been great.
That would have been really good.
What other ones would you have wanted to see, or would you like to see?
I like to see Alice in Chains do Dirt.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I like to see Alice in Chains do Facelift. I think that'd be cool too. I'd like to see Jar of Flies. I don't know. Like they have.
I would love for Alice in Chains to do an acoustic tour. I think that would be rad.
Yeah.
I really think that would be really, really interesting.
You know, and they did it like do it at a theater.
Yeah.
Just do a theater show. Or I still want to see Mad Season come back.
I would love. So we mentioned how Temple of the Dog is coming back, and then they're gonna play Mother Love Bone songs probably, and Temple. I would love
honestly
if Mad Season was the opening act. But think about that though. You have Mad Season open up, so you have Mike McCready coming out and playing double set because he does play on Temple of the Dog stuff.
Yep.
You got Barrett Martin playing drums, and they figure out somebody to play bass because Baker's dead.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Cornell has actually done some Mad Season songs before, so he can come back out and sing some Mad Season stuff. Mark Lanigan can come out and sing some Mad Season stuff.
That'd be really
Come
cool.
out, a couple other good, solid people come out.
Are they just playing one show?
Temple of the Dog?
Mm-hmm.
Doing like 6.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where are they playing?
A Forum.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing in New York.
You know we're going, right? You know we're going, right?
We'll see.
We're gonna go.
Better get tickets soon.
Even if we got to StubHub it,
Alright.
we're going. And I'll pay the extra $100 for that.
Okay, you can pay for the extra. You're funny.
I know.
We were talking about this the other day too,
Mm-hmm.
and we were talking about these bands that are fundraising their albums through crowdsourcing. I think it's a crock of shit. What about you?
Yep.
It really does take advantage of your fans.
Yep.
It really, it's.
That's all I can say because I'm really getting fumed right now. But yeah.
Well, no, go into it. But here, you're paying in advance for these people to go to the studio and all this stuff, and a majority of the time, these albums when they're done suck. They're
Yep.
awful. So you've paid for them to just go into the studio and record a bunch of stuff. They might, they do those video updates and stuff like, man, this is the greatest album we've ever done, blah, blah, blah. And then you hear it, and you're like, what the fuck is this?
I got an idea. I think that what they should do is that they should do a listening party first before they release the album. And then if the album sucks, the band has to freaking pay all the people back.
That's not a bad idea.
Because it's the checks and balances of the situation.
It's
Because
Yeah.
I've seen way too many bands take way too many funds from fans' hands, and just what they come out with is just garbage.
It's absolute garbage.
Right.
It really is. But you know what? You think about it. You mentioned this too. You're paying them to go into a studio. Why aren't you getting it? I mean, yeah, you give them a few bucks here, and then you get, you give us $10, we'll give you a copy of the album, or you give us $1,000, we'll give you a signed drum head. I don't care about a signed drum head or
exactly.
a handwritten lyric sheet for $500. Give me a break. Come on.
I don't care about meeting you anymore. I really don't care.
By the way, this can go into it too. Is the bands that are doing the meet and greet packages where you're paying to meet them.
Yeah.
And then there's all these. Then they're like, no, you know, you're paying for the experience. It's not meeting.
You know who does
us.
that is Quiet Riot, dude. Like, have you seen that guy's movie?
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah, remember like when he does the meet and greet
Mhm.
stuff? He's talking about, yeah, you know, the meet and greet stuff is awesome. You know, we get these. Yeah, it's awesome for you.
Yeah, these people are paying to see you.
Yeah.
They're already paying to see you. I
Now
shouldn't
they're
have to
paying
pay
to see you
extra to
again.
come see you, like to meet you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no,
That-
that's absurd. Stop doing that. You're taking advantage of your fans. Oh, you get a special laminate. Who cares if you get a laminate? Go. You know what I used to do if I really wanted to meet somebody? I'd go stand outside and wait for them after the venue.
Like the Palace.
Yeah.
Good old Palace days.
Or the
dude.
Key Club or any of the Roxy shows or anything like that, the Whiskey.
That's right.
Like you go see those bands, they're walking around most of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
I met so many people like that.
Yep. I met Danzig that way. I met
I met
a
the
lot of
guys
people
from
that way.
Korn that way.
Yeah.
Tons of people in my life. Just
I met frickin' Chi from Deftones
yeah.
like 2 years before he died. Yeah.
I saw Deftones at Spaceland. This really small spot in Silver Lake.
How was that?
It was amazing. But they were hanging out and like they had like the. Have you ever been there?
Yeah.
They had the other room inside there where you used to be able to smoke, and they had the pool
Yeah.
table and stuff. They were hanging out in there and just getting hammered and like just chatting with people, just coming up, talking to him.
Well, then they got hammered, and then they went out and played.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's right. But like, I just don't stop charging your fans to meet you.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
Just like crowdfunding is wrong.
Yeah.
I understand your album is done and you put a pre-order up. Your album is done. You've gone through the process of recording it. You've paid for it and all this stuff. Don't, oh, we need $50,000. Get a job.
Yeah.
Get a job. Go do telemarketing or
Or
something
take
like
out
that.
a loan.
Yeah. There's a lot of these bands that are doing this that have been around a while. Some of them have actually formed like LLCs and corporations out of their bands. They can actually submit for a loan, a business loan,
Yeah.
and then they can pay it back.
Yep.
What's wrong about that? Oh,
Yep.
because no, we got dedicated fans, so just give us $50,000.
No, man, you pay it off of the portion that you make from every show. That when you go on the road, that's what you go on the road.
Yeah, they should be. If you do crowdfunding, you should play a tour, a full-fledged tour
For free.
for free.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
hands
Just sell
down.
your merch. dude.
Thou-
That's how you
yeah,
make
so
your
that's all
money.
That's it. You can sell merch, but you cannot charge for tickets. Nothing.
Nah, I do like a $10 tour.
Not even $10. You can. Everyone gets in for free. It can be 21 and over. You could do it like that.
That's true.
If you really wanted to. 21 and over, or 18 plus, whatever. And everything. It's free. It's like a 500 to 1,000 person venue,
Yeah.
and everyone gets in for free. The place makes money off of booze,
Mm-hmm.
and the band makes money off merch. Hands down, and then that's it. And then go to the next city and do the same thing.
That's a really good idea.
But the other one of the other things too that, and this kind of ties into it, is you get a band that does a crowdfunding thing, and they're most likely doing the record on their own. They're not going out and looking for somebody to work with. Most bands really should have somebody in their studio with them as not necessarily, it can be a producer or whatever, but somebody to tell them, hey, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like a band like Seven Dust. So they did, after Clint left the band after Seasons, they basically went and did everything on their own. So they had 3 albums they came out with on their own, pretty much self-produced.
Mm-hmm.
Clint came back. They realized we need to really step up our game. Clint's back. This is the band. They went out and they worked with the producer, and the album sounds great. The songs are really well done.
Is that when they came out with
Cold Day Memory. Yeah. Working with that guy Johnny K was great for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely great. It really brought them back into like their sound. Like it sounded like Seven Dust.
Yeah.
Not to say that there's other stuff doesn't sound like Seven Dust, but this really sounded like Seven Dust. And then after Cold Day Memory, they went back to crowdfunding their stuff in that way.
Yeah.
And the material they put out, from Black Out the Sun, Time
Is that
Travel,
crowdfunded?
yeah, it was Pledge
I didn't know
Music,
that.
Black Out the Sun, Time Travelers and Bonfires, and their latest one, Kill the Flaw, were all crowdfunded, and they're not that good compared to what Cold Day Memory is, or even Animosity was, Home, even their first record. It's nothing.
I think once you crowdfund, dude, there's like a certain entity that like leaves the room when you guys are making the album, because it's it's not like you worked your ass off to fund the album yourself, and then to, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's kind of like some of the
that work
it
ethic
loses something.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
It loses the passion
Yeah.
because you're like, okay, we can throw this up here,
Mhm.
and we got enough fans that will support us to do this.
Well, it's just another reason to be complacent.
It's it's in the quality of the product, like you mentioned before too, is the quality of the product suffers from it.
Yeah.
Because you don't have somebody out there pushing you. You don't have somebody there to like guide you along and tell you, hey, this tone is wrong, or you're playing this it just doesn't sound right, or your lyrics, you've said that already. Your vocal melodies are the same as everything. Like this, it really. I went to audio school. I went to music school to learn how to record and everything like that. And I worked in a bunch of studios and stuff. And watching some of the people, the producers and engineers that I got to work under, some of them like legends. Like I worked with Andy Johns, who did Zeppelin 4, Exile on Main Street. 9 out of 10 times, everything that Andy said worked magically and wonderfully better than what the other person wanted. It just
Why was that?
the ego aspect of it. It's like
Yeah.
this is my band. Yeah, it might be your band. Yeah, you wrote the song, but this guy's here to make it better.
Yeah.
This guy's here to challenge you to push yourself even more.
Yeah.
Like you go back and listen to interviews with like Jonathan Davis or even At the Driving Guys or something like that when they worked with Ross Robinson. Ross Robinson's in your face when you're doing vocals. He's just in there pushing you. Like, I want a performance out of you. I don't want to just hear you just sing it. I want you to embody that. You wrote this. This is something that means something to you. Put it out there. Put yourself into it.
Yeah.
Getting the right scream or the right shout or the right high note or something like that. It
Kind of
really
like brings you back into that what you like wrote about.
Yeah,
puts you back into
puts
that
you in that
situation.
headspace where you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, you'll always be in that headspace because you wrote it, but to like really put you back into the time period of when you first thought of that.
Yeah.
Like the thoughts that
Yeah.
you wrote down, like
Brings you back to when the incident happened.
yeah, make it passionate.
It's your therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The digital age has made it really easy for everybody and anybody to record, which granted there's been a lot of good stuff that has come out, but there's a lot of shit.
It kills it though.
It kills
dude.
it, though.
It kills it, man.
Because-
unless you have a really good producer, like good luck. Good
The
luck.
en-
They're just they bring that added element to the band that it's like the checks and balances, but also it's kind of like the fan's ear. You know what I mean?
It is.
Yeah, it's like no, dude, that does not sound good. I get where you're going with that, but it's just I know you guys want to experiment a little, but you also can't take out the whole formula.
No.
You know what I mean? And plus, you got to build off that formula. You have to evolve. This producer's going to help you evolve as a band.
Exactly.
And that's what I think is so important about people checking their egos at the door.
It's
You know,
necessary.
it's-
It's very necessary.
And what do you care? You're going to make more money.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man.
You put out a great album as opposed to
Yeah.
a mediocre album.
But it's their ego, dude.
Yeah.
It's their freaking ego. No, I wrote this, but the producer made me change a bunch of stuff. Well, are the lyrics still the same? Yeah. Who gives a shit? You're still getting the same meaning across, right?
The aspect of having a producer and a really good engineer
Yeah.
really goes a long way. You have these people nowadays that are
AKA new Deftones album.
I don't. It's awful. I can't believe they put that out. But the difference between having a really good engineer and producer and having somebody that's a Pro Tools guy is totally different.
Yeah.
Having somebody that's a whiz at Pro Tools it really takes away from what the music is. It takes away from what the band is. Having somebody sit there and chop it up and edit it to the T where everything sounds perfect and everything like that, and you replace the drums with other, they do the sound replacement and stuff like that, and having you don't need to record the amp this way anymore. You can just do it right through here. No, yeah, you get the Line 6 pods and the fake native instruments, amps and stuff, but it doesn't sound like plugging into a Marshall JCM800 or Mesa Dual rectifier.
Doesn't sound natural, man.
No.
Yeah. It's kind of like what Dave Grohl said.
Yeah.
You guys gotta find each other, get into a garage, and just play shitty music until it sounds good.
There's people like Trent Reznor who can take digital stuff, but they use it as an instrument. They use it to get sounds and do
he really
different
honestly
things.
does do
Yeah,
that.
because he really does not. He's a classically trained
Yeah. He
piano
plays it all
player.
himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows how to play
And
everything.
then he speeds it up to whatever tempo it needs to be
Yeah.
at, but he originally recorded that beat into it and just
Yeah.
he actually made everything. Every little detail you're hearing in that he made.
So when you
know?
have a band like you have an electronic band like 9 Inch Nails or something like that, but
Yeah.
you hear that live aspect, like that's why I've told you before too.
That's why
is-
you can play it live.
yeah,
Yeah.
you take Pretty Hate Machine era stuff. It sounds very
It sounds better live.
sounds better live.
way better.
Sounds way
Yeah.
better live. But the other thing too about producers and stuff is some of these guys wind up working with some bands that just does not work. It doesn't make sense to work with them.
But at least they're working with a producer.
They are. It just sometimes the sound just does not translate from what the producer does to what the band does, and it just doesn't fit.
But I think that's the roll of the dice you take.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes a lot of these band members are like, well, I love how he did that album, and I love how he brought that out, and I love how he did that. Let's see if he can do it with our band, but it's not a for sure thing.
Yeah.
It's
But then
always going
there's
to be experimental.
and then there's the bands that work with the same producer too long.
Yeah.
Like it just like yeah, okay, you've defined what you are, but now I want to hear it differently. I want to hear somebody else. Like I want to hear, like you mentioned how you like Converge a lot. I
Yeah.
like them a lot too. And they've worked in Kurt Ballou, their guitar player is their guy, their producer and engineer. I would love to hear them with somebody else. I would seriously love to hear them with somebody else.
Yeah, I would too. I'd really like to hear how they can be pushed.
Yeah. I want somebody just like I could see, I'm just throwing this out there, but I could see Ross Robinson doing a really good record with them. Just raw, in your face, just angry, aggressive.
No, I couldn't see that.
I could see it. I could.
Well, he did do Roots.
He did do Roots. He's done a lot of stuff. He did 2 records, one that came out this year, one that came out last year. The one that came out this year, that band Night Versus, I really dig.
Uh-huh.
Their new record sounds great. It's really, he got great tones, great performances out of them. And then a band that came out last year, their album called Harvest of Darkness. Their band's called Wild Throne.
Uh-huh.
They're fantastic. And he got some really good stuff out of that band too. But he's still out there, still putting good stuff out. He's working
that's good.
working with smaller bands to get good albums out there.
I'm sure he's pretty expensive though.
Probably.
Yeah.
I want to put it past it to be kind of pricey.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially with the stuff that guy's come out with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did he do any Faith No More records?
He did a Cure record.
That's right, he did a Cure record. I bet that was interesting.
You know, when it first came out, I wasn't into it.
Really?
But then the more and more I listened to it, the more I got it. Because the songs, it sounds different than the Cure. It does not sound like a Cure record.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's moments where it really does, like the glistening guitar moments.
Are there like 2 or 3 like good songs off that you're like, dude, I could put in a playlist?
There's like 5 really good songs on that album.
Okay,
6 even.
that's good.
It's a good record.
It's the majority of the record.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
And there's a couple on there that you're just like, no. But the majority of it is actually really good. I don't know. There's just there's so many people out there, so many bands that, if they worked with the right people, could be even better than they are.
Incubus needs to go back to being produced again.
Yeah.
They really need to go back to being produced again.
They need Brendan O'Brien back in their fold.
Which albums he did with them? Make Yourself.
No, Scott Litt did Make Yourself. Brendan O'Brien did Crow Left of the Murder,
That's right. Yeah.
Light Grenades, and If Not Now When.
Yeah, they need to bring that guy back. Definitely.
Yeah. Scott Litt was good, but he's too radio.
Yeah, but I really like Make Yourself.
Make Yourself was great.
Love Make Yourself.
Imagine hearing Make Yourself done by Brendan O'Brien, though.
Yeah.
That
That'd be
would-
pretty good.
You know, I mean, if you think about this too, is Brendan O'Brien, who's done so many countless amazing albums, like every Stone Temple Pilots album, from Core to Purple, Tiny Music, Number 4, Pearl Jam Versus, all the way through, I think, the Avocado record. He's done, oh my God, since Bruce Springsteen albums, Mastodon, Crack the Sky, he did. He's done so many classics. Black Crowes, Shake Your Moneymaker. That album, I mean, he's done so many
He's
good
done
things.
a lot of good stuff.
Pearl Jam, when they re-released 10, they had him come back and remix 10 because Eddie Vedder has always been critical about how it was mixed because he said it was sounded too radio friendly.
Yeah.
And you can really tell the difference, and it sounds better with
Yeah.
Brennan's mix on it. Like we're all so used to hearing 10 a certain way that you can, when you hear the Brendan O'Brien redo, it's
I noticed
night
a
and
big
day
difference.
difference.
Yeah,
It sounds better. You get these producers that are so focused on making it sound a certain way so it sounds good on the radio as opposed to it sounds good as an album.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
You know, here's one band I came across recently, like within the past week, that has really just gone downhill over the years, was In Flames. Remember In Flames, how fucking rad they used to be?
I was never really into them. I like Colony. That was a pretty good record.
Colony and Clayman. And
that Clayman, that's what I was talking
great.
about. Yeah.
And Reroute to Remain is actually pretty solid too.
Yeah.
But the last few records they put out after Come Clarity, which is Come Clarity was like a throwback to like Clayman meets Reroute to Remain. It had both those elements in it, but it sounded really well done.
Mm-hmm.
Their new record that's coming out soon has been produced by Howard Benson. You know who Howard Benson is?
No.
Howard Benson's the guy that's responsible for Hoops Tank's The Reason, POD, the album that had Alive on it, all that stuff. Yeah.
Satellite.
Yeah, that's the one. So this guy is now working with Swedish metal legends In Flames, whose career has completely just gone downhill, and now it's at this fucking bottom plateau, and now they're working with this guy. And it's absolutely ruined the band.
What other stuff has he done?
Howard Benson?
Yeah.
Pretty much anything, like Hailstorm. You know that band Hailstorm?
Yeah.
He's done them. He's done a bunch of the Cold Year of the Spider. He did that album. We mentioned this earlier on in the show too. Is a band like Korn who's coming back with a new record. Put their ego aside finally, and worked with Nick Raskulins, who I mentioned has done the two great Deftones albums, Alice in Chains, Rush, Death Angel,
Yeah.
Foo Fighters. No, he knows his way around a board. He knows how to make a band sound good. But Korn went and did their own thing. They experimented with different producers and stuff, and it turned out like crap,
Yeah.
like absolute crap for years. They haven't put out a good album since 1999 when Issues came out.
Yeah.
I know you're not never really
No,
huge,
but it's it's
but
the truth though.
yeah. So they realized in their head of like, okay, we need to get back to what we're doing. Heads back in the band. They got that core sound again, the guitar sound that made them popular.
And I like their drummer.
Their new drummer is actually phenomenal.
Yeah.
But the great thing about working with Nick Raskulins for them was he understood them as a fan perspective too. He's like, this stuff that you guys are doing is not you. What are you doing? This isn't what you're doing.
Yeah.
The drums, like Ray Luzier is a great drummer, but the way he was playing on all those albums he's been on, it just doesn't fit the way Korn is.
Yeah.
It has to have that like groove.
Yeah.
So you have this guy who comes in and tells Ray, hey man, you're a great drummer, but play it like this. And then Monkey and Head are over there playing guitars like they used to, and it sounds like they used to. Fieldy is actually playing like he used to too, and it's not. I mean, it still sounds like that. And Jonathan's back to his vocals sound like they used to.
Yeah.
Those two new songs they released actually sound like classic Korn. It's a throwback record, but it's finally the album that people have been wanting for years. And all it took was them to put their ego aside and work with somebody that gets it.
Yeah.
If you put your ego aside and you find the right person to work with, amazing how far you can go.
Well, it's kind of like you guys have like all these pieces to put the puzzle together. You guys just need a little bit of help.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like what we were talking about earlier, man. It's getting past that ego. You know, freaking sucks, but sometimes these guys, man, they got egos and they're stubborn. It's like, you know, what a lot of people understand too as well, and what you and I do understand because we've been in a band together, is that a band is a lot like a marriage.
Absolutely. It's give and take.
Exactly. And you got to give and take, man. And a lot of these guys, they don't give, man. They just take. No, it's going to be like this. I don't care what you have to say. And then the end product is that no one's happy with it.
No one's happy with it. It doesn't sound like how you want it to sound. Plus, there's the added thing of if you're not in a group with people, you don't have to agree on everything. But if you don't have the same work ethic, you don't have the same passionate level of wanting to do something, and it's not going to turn out the way you want it to.
And you
Like working with, like you said, we've played together a lot. We played together, just jamming, whatever. There's that musical chemistry, and once you achieve that chemistry, you'll start playing something on the drums, and then next thing you know, it's like, oh, okay, I got this idea in my head. I'll play a guitar riff on top of it. I'll play a bass line on top of it, or something like that, and it clicks.
Or it's like there's some people in the band that can also have really good ideas, and like let's say if your band has been established for a while and they have the track record of coming up with the really good ideas. Perfect example, Rolling Stones. They didn't really freaking get in the studio until Keith Richards was all heroined up, and hey, you got that riff going? Cool, let's go do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And sometimes if that's what you have to work with in order to make the music the best, that's just your formula, man. That's how you do it. It's funny how like we were talking about like being out of bands, are really a lot like give and take, a lot like marriage and stuff. They really honestly are. And it's like I remember when I was 16 and I had an ego, and a lot of 16-year-olds have that, a lot of 36-year-old guys have that. It just depends on where you find it and harness it. But I remember when I was in a band when I was 16 years old, and I just remember some of the stuff that they would play. Like I would be like, dude, I just don't like that, man. That shit sucks.
Yeah.
Seriously. And it would kind of belittle the other guy, which sucks, you know what I mean? But also at the same time, it's like if you can find a different way to deliver that and just be like, hey, man, I'm not really digging on that. Let's try something else. You know what I mean? It's also a lot of these bands also, they get so used to each other that they're just assholes to each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they got to really check themselves on that.
Yeah. There really is. There's something else too that I want to discuss with you, and I think you'll get it too, is the difference between being influenced and inspired.
Yeah. There's a big difference.
Because when you're influenced by something, it really shines through more than it is when you're inspired. Because when you're influenced, like you hear something, like you listen to a song on at home on a stereo, you're like, oh man, that song's really cool. So you reach for your guitar or something like that, and you start jamming. And you're like, oh, I can play that.
Yeah.
And so you're playing the song, and then you go and you're like, and you're jamming that, and then you go jam and come up with an idea. The next thing you know, like you listen back to your idea a couple of days later, you've pretty much rewritten that song that you just listened to.
Yeah.
But when you're inspired by something, you get inspired by like the tone or the feel or the sound of something, and you're like, oh, that I want to play something that's
or
driving.
Just play to play.
Yeah, but you use that you use the inspiration factor to come up with something pure, as opposed to something that sounds identical to this.
Mm-hmm.
Like inspiration wise, you can take it anywhere you want. When you're influenced, you're kind of relegated to that little thing of like, this band is this, so my stuff needs to sound like this.
Yeah.
It takes away.
It's kind of funny, man.
There's
like,
too many bands that are influenced and not enough that are inspired.
I think that if you take the notion of, no, we're just going to be inspired and not influenced, and we're just going to go ahead and take our ideas that we have and come up with something completely new, a completely different concept, and try to not reinvent, just like come up with something new. Like there's tons of bands that are out there that do their own thing, that are inspired but don't take other influences.
Yeah.
But what sucks is that with how a lot of the music culture is in the United States, it's just corporate bullshit, bubblegum pop shit. It's just
the crap that
dude.
is shoved down your throat every day via radio and all that. It takes away from it.
I mean, I'm into that electronica stuff, but it's like a lot of this electronic stuff, when it comes out on the radio, it's like I'll be like, dude, she has a really good voice, and all of a sudden it'll get so poppy and ridiculous
that
you're like, okay, the song doesn't need to be like that. It really doesn't need to be like that. But they're just trying to like beef it up for a certain part of another aspect of an audience, just to cater to them too as well.
Who's a great example of that in the pop world?
Who?
Adele.
Yeah.
Because she's got such that soulful voice that you listen to the music that's behind her.
Mm-hmm.
It's pop music.
Yeah.
That's not like, when I see her, I don't think of her as a pop person. I consider her, you look
her own kind of person.
Yeah, and you put that stuff behind her, and it takes away from
Yeah.
what she really could achieve.
Yeah, see, that's why I like Sade a lot. That's why I like people like Sarah McLachlan, people like Tori Amos, a lot of those people that kind of shied away from what was popular at the time, just did their own thing.
Yeah.
And they get a hell of a lot more respect for it in the back end in the long run. You know what I mean? Because, now they have like kind of like their own little entity, and then they have their own little sound, and
Yeah.
they know whenever they put something out, they know that their fan base is always going to pick it up, and they're not going to sit there and ask to publicly fund their records
No.
either. You know what I mean? Like people can knock on Sarah McLachlan all they want. She's so good, man. Like, she's got a beautiful voice. Even Sade, like Tori Amos, a lot of those people. I mean, like, look, I get it if you don't dig on it, but you gotta give them credit.
Absolutely.
Doing their own freaking thing.
Absolutely.
You know, it's hard to make it in music, like, especially nowadays.
There's no label out there developing a band anymore.
No, I'm kind of happy about that though.
That there's no the labels developing a band.
Yeah.
Why?
Like, you're gonna see within the next 10 to 20 years, there's gonna be no corporate anything running any music industry anymore. A lot of it's gonna be independent.
There's always going to be a corporate entity running it.
Yeah, but
as long as the radio's around and
well,
all
I
that
meant
stuff.
no. I meant like besides the radio though. I get what you're saying. There's always like for the hub.
Yeah.
It's always going to be corporate.
For the mainstream, there's always going to be a
Exactly.
corporate entity.
But
Like you're going to take. You're gonna have Apple Music itself
it's a corporate. Yeah.
So
You
Apple's defining what is
Yeah.
the top things now
Yeah.
for people.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like
but
people don't even refer to the Billboard charts anymore
I
like they used
know.
to for sales. It's like, oh, we're number 1 on the iTunes. Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. That's the drastic shift.
Yeah.
And we have got so many X amount of plays on YouTube.
Well, that's what I meant. I didn't mean like I meant phasing out the record companies.
Oh, record companies will be phased out, but there
Yeah.
will be like the two or three that are still like
well,
there
there's
will
always
always
be
be
the Viacoms. They're always going to be
Yeah.
the I get what
Warner
you're saying.
Brothers Records,
Yeah.
Universal, Sony. They're always going to be there.
Sony. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's crazy. It really is. It's
That's just it. No, it's just evolving.
it's evolving, but it's you're losing something from it too.
I think we're gonna gain something from it though. It's like I really honestly think, because if you listen to stuff like Pandora has some pretty good stuff on there.
Pandora needs to change their algorithm.
I know. Yeah, they really do. But either that or they need to like add some extra stuff on there, like have some independent bands.
Yeah, they
stuff like
really
that,
need to,
you know
to
what I
up
mean?
their game because
Yeah.
you pull. I haven't listened to it in a while, but when I was listening to it, you put on whatever band station,
Yeah.
and then it's like 4 or 5 other bands,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah.
And it just recycles through like the same, like 12 songs each.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, come on. Okay, I've heard these songs.
Well, it's funny because like if you have like an Alice in Chains, Pandora, like after that you're either gonna hear Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, freaking some other band
Yeah.
that's like, you know what I mean, some other grunge band that's a Nirvana, you know what I mean. That just sucks, dude. Like I want to hear more like now independent bands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like start cycling out. Start like, look, I get the reason why I want this station is because I want to listen to this band, but I also want to listen to like new and current bands that sound like this band, or like old bands that sound like this band, but not just like the fucking
give me the spectrum of
Exactly.
bands that
Yeah.
that are Alice in Chains like, or Nine
Well-
Inch Nails like, or whatever. No, like I could imagine like on the Tool playlist or something like that the band we saw a couple weeks ago
Turn this shit down.
with Our Arms to the Sun being on there. Like, cause those guys were legit, like really like down to earth
Yeah,
guys.
they're good live.
They're great live. They bring it, bring the show
Mhm.
aspect of it. They play with passion. They believe in their songs.
Definitely
it comes,
no bullshit it.
yeah, and they really go at it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have a band like that like goes. This is total full circle now, where they've worked with somebody now to hone their sound and things like that. They worked
See,
with
and that's
Buzz
so
Osborne
important.
from the Melvins.
See, that's so important.
It is. So
Yeah,
they worked with
it's-
somebody to make sure their songs are
Yeah.
in good shape, things like that, to make sure it's there.
It's like anything else. It's like, let's say if you're a mixed martial artist, it's like harnessing your craft. You got to go to a teacher in order to do that. You just can't do it yourself.
Yeah, what are you gonna watch YouTube videos on how to do it?
Which
No.
people have done that.
Yeah.
Like John Jones, he did that, and then he started fighting and became the UFC champion in 3 years. But that's fucking 1 out of how many people?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That's like
doesn't work for everybody.
One in a million. You know what I mean? But yeah, exactly. It's just like, park your ego at the door, man.
Yeah,
Like if you got to go get somebody to get your music to be better, fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
no. And these guys, when you listen to their music, you talk to them. They the ego's not there. They're just humble
Yeah.
guys, like happy to be playing music for a living. This is
Yeah.
what they do. They sacrifice a lot so that they can do this.
Yeah.
And it comes across in how they play, their show, their music, the performances, everything. That when I see bands like that, it gives me hope for new music.
Yeah, it does for me too.
It really does. And
Yeah.
the fact that they get it. They just get it. They're like, they understand, like, it's work. We have to go work. We got to be away. We got to go on the road. We got to play shows. We got to play shows. We got to play shows. We got to put out good quality music.
Nobody said making it was easy.
No. But the whole concept of the whole thing, like, they took the time to write good stuff. They worked on it, made sure it sounded good. The album actually flows really well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even out yet. I've heard it. It's really fucking good.
And honestly, man, I think a lot of people who tend to judge a lot of bands based on the fact that they don't really play themselves, don't really understand how hard it is to get a group of people in a room, check the egos, create something, and then put it on a record and record it and have it sound good.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a very hard process.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people who, like I said before, don't play instruments, they don't give a lot of credit to a lot of bands like that. And in regards to that, they don't give a lot of opportunity for their ear for their music. They'll listen to it for 20 seconds and turn it off.
Yeah, I mean, there is a fan perspective, but then there's the people out there that know what it takes to put it out there and put yourself out there in that sense.
Yeah.
There's the whole, like, you have more, if you've been through parts of it, you've played in bands, you've played a bunch of shows, you've recorded, you've released records, blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have a different appreciation for it. Like, especially if you see somebody up there and they're struggling, you're like, oh
Yeah.
It's like that hurts. It's not you're not just standing there being like, boo, this guy sucks, whatever. You're like, you can look over at that guy and be like, fuck you, dude. That guy is at least trying. He put himself out there. What the fuck have you done?
That's right. Exactly.
It's just,
now, if that guy's a dickhead to the freaking audience and tells them that the audience sucks, fuck you.
yeah,
That
then fair game.
Yeah, fair
game.
game.
I mean, come on.
But if he's,
I mean,
trying.
also, if you're at that point where your people are looking at you and you suck, just take a break and work on your shit.
You know what? Actually, like, we were talking about this earlier before the show. I actually wanted to include the audience in it if they wanted to go ahead and leave something.
Yes,
on the
please.
bottom. But let's talk about experiences at shows and partying with the bands after. No, seriously, like we were talking like before we did this podcast, and we were actually you were saying you were telling me some pretty cool stories, man.
I can finally tell you my spine shank story.
Okay.
This will be like the biggest fucking tie-in all the way to the beginning of the fucking show. So in 2009, that's actually when we played with them, was 2009.
Mm-hmm.
We played with them in Velvet Jones, the band I was in. Played with them, opened up for them. And we were hanging out, and their night went awry because their electronics didn't work. So they played their set without electronics, and it sounded fucking badass. Like, holy shit, like, this is a totally different band without that, and it sounds just punk rock and heavy as fuck. It's great. So hanging out after the show, just drinking, hanging out, talking, carrying on, whatever. They were playing the Whiskey the next night, and they're like, "Hey, come out. We'll give you a +1. You come hang out. We'll take care of you." Like, okay, cool. So went out the next night. Went to the Whiskey. Brought a friend of mine, and on the list, +1 list, whatever, and go upstairs, go say hi to them in the backstage, and there's like, "Oh, by the way, free booze all night for you." Like, what? Like, there's Jaeger bottles and vodka and Jack Daniels and whatever. You're just like, okay, I'm just gonna go for it.
That sounds cool at the moment, not the next morning.
Haven't had a night like this in a long time. Just gonna go. I'm hanging out with these guys. They invited me to hang out. We hit it off. Cool night.
Yeah, just cool. These guys are in these bands are just normal.
Yeah,
people.
there's normal dudes just want to hang out, have a good time,
Some
party.
egos are called
play
assholes.
some music. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you could tell they were just doing it for fun.
Yeah.
I'm like, we'll give it another shot, but we're doing it for fun.
You think they have day jobs?
Of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But just getting wild and crazy, partying with those dudes and watching them play, and just Johnny, their singer, put the mic in front of in front of the audience, and like I'm right there singing along.
He actually just put it in front of your face. So it was funny.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's happened to me a few times.
Rafters, yeah. You're just sitting there screaming like a madman on fucking Oxycontin, dude.
Yeah, he was.
No, you.
I wasn't on Oxycontin.
No, you were screaming like a madman on Oxycontin.
Oh, dude, I was just intense. I was like that stuff.
Yeah, but I thought you got all your energy out on stage because you were the band that played before them.
No, I still had more.
Wow, dude.
Dude,
So what you're saying is that you didn't give 100% to your
No,
audience.
I gave 100%, and then I had so much more energy because of it. Like,
Yeah.
you get all that adrenaline pumping. You're like, man, I just, played a really kick-ass show, and you're like, I just opened up for, a band I really, really dug.
Dude,
or
I always
like
get I always get the come down, dude.
Oh man, I was still going because it was like Spine Shank's up next.
Yeah.
Like, yes, this is gonna be. Oh my god, like I just played before them. Like we've been hanging out all night having drinks and stuff. Like I'm gonna, like, this is awesome. So yeah, of course I was screaming like a man. I used to have a tendency when I would go to shows sometimes too, and I would lose my voice because I would sing along so hard with those people.
Yeah, I used to do that in high school.
Yeah.
Like when I go see Sepultura or like when I see Soulfly.
Oh, there's countless times I would lose my voice. It was crazy. Like it became comical to the point where people would know I would go to shows and they'd call me like later in the evening or the next day just to hear my voice, just to be like, it's funny. It's funny.
That's fun. See, those are good times, man.
Yeah.
Well, let's go. Hey, man, I had a really good time doing this show.
I always have a good time doing this show with you, man.
Yeah.
That's why we do the show together, and that's why we do this. And by the way, whatever opinions that you all might have, please share them with us because we'd love to bring them up and talk about them on the show. And granted, these all are our opinions and things like that too. So don't get all butthurt and cry about it and troll me on.
Just end the show already, Brian.
Shit. Fuck you, man. Fuck you.
We always gotta end the show on a high note.
We got a high note, but
just joke around.
Yeah. Like, thank you for listening. Thank you for checking the show out, and we hope you enjoy the show.
And if you have any questions about any new metal bands that Brian might know about, just put them in the comment section because I don't fucking know.
If you have any questions about any band, I might know, so you can ask me questions.
Oh my God, speaking of that, guess what I found in that CD thing that you sent me, and only Brian would know this? Fucking migraine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, leave on that note.
YouTube
that record.
Wait, no,
ask
to
questions to Brian about that because
migraine.
He'll only know
Yes,
that.
MYGRAIN.
Yeah, that's right. E.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also in another one of those bags, Flambuki.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
It is now on the side of the 101.
Well, those are for what you two to do with. So, anyway, thank you for listening. Enjoy the show, and we will be back for episode 5.
Till next time, thank you for listening.
Thank you.